18th day of March 2025. A day when the King and Queen of the Netherlands start their first day of their official state visit of the country. A day when they're asking the government of Kenya to uphold the rights of every Kenyan, particularly the youth.
The people of Kenya, like those of the Netherlands, want their rights as free citizens to be respected and their voices to be heard. I'm pleased that our country's strong and mature relationship allows us to devote attention during this visit to issues like human rights, good governance, and accountability.
Value your youth. Echoes of Gen Z revolt as Dutch King talks human rights at State House.
CBA is sacrosanct, and once it is agreed, it can't be changed. They tried to change it last year for the interns. We stopped them. They're again trying to change it this year. We will not allow it.
Looming health crisis. Doctors and clinicians stage protests in Nairobi over alleged government pay cuts for interns.
Asante sana Mr. President, kwa sababu mtoto wangu hakuuliwa, umlete huku Kenya.
Keeping the faith. Margaret Nduta's family clings to hope as Vietnam execution deadline passes. More than 400 killed as Israel launches first major offensive since January ceasefire agreement. And on The Explainer tonight, the uproar that has come out of the revelation that mathematics will be an optional subject in senior school as we look towards the pioneer CBC transition into senior school next year. My Explainer tonight just takes a path down the pathways that exist for those transitioning to senior school, that's grade 10, and even talks about why many have a problem with making math optional throughout senior school here in Kenya. That is on The Explainer, which starts right now.
Live from Citizen TV, this is The Explainer with Yvonne Okwara.
Njoki Shege is our sign language interpreter. Upholding human rights, respect for the rule of law, and inclusion of the youth in governance topped King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands' speech at State House, Nairobi, as he began his visit to Kenya. The Dutch King said Kenya can bank on the energies of its youthful population to drive its prosperity agenda. Speaking at a joint press conference with President William Ruto, King Willem celebrated relations between both countries and also witnessed the signing of 3 memoranda of understanding between the two nations. Ayub Abdikadir reports.
Your Majesty, good morning and welcome to Kenya.
To see you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The 3-day state visit by the Dutch royal family started at State House in Nairobi, with military honors and a 21-gun salute. Shortly after the welcoming ceremony,
Investment in the tourism sector in Kenya.
3 memorandum of understanding aimed at fostering ties between the Netherlands and Kenya were signed in presence of President William Ruto and King Alexander. The visit by the Dutch royal family coming against the backdrop of petitions by Kenya's youth, marshalling a total of 22,468 online petitions, calling for a reconsideration of the visit, citing gross human rights violations during and in the aftermath of the Gen Z-led demonstrations, with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights documenting deaths and cases of enforced disappearances. And the Dutch King, cognizant of the developments, appreciated the importance of Kenya's youth.
We believe in the future of Kenya, a future that will be determined by the Kenyan people. With a population whose average age is 20, your country is fortunate that it can rely on the ideas and energies of millions of young citizens.
Also further outlining the importance of safeguarding human rights.
The people of Kenya, like those of the Netherlands, want their rights as free citizens to be respected and their voices to be heard. I'm pleased that our country's strong and mature relationship allows us to devote attention during this visit to issues like human rights, good governance, and accountability.
The King making clear his country's commitment to the pleas of young Kenyans and the platform provided to amplify their voices.
Later this morning, at the Ambassador's residence, we will be meeting young Kenyans to hear their views on recent developments. What opportunities do they see to build a bright future for the country they love? A future in which everyone can participate on an equal footing.
President William Ruto, on his part, hailed the long-standing relations between the two countries.
Our nations share a strategic partnership dating back to 1964. Over the decades, this relationship has evolved, driven by mutual respect, common aspirations, and a shared vision for a greener, more sustainable, and prosperous future. Commitment to
King Alexander's remarks on the state of human rights in the country, likely to pile pressure on the government to address glaring inadequacies in responding with conclusive answers to cases of deaths and disappearances of youthful critics of the government. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
And now to matters health. Healthcare workers took to the streets in a bold protest, demanding fair treatment and job security. Led by the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU, doctors marched to SHA headquarters, the Ministry of Health and Parliament, delivering a petition warning of a nationwide strike if interns' salaries were cut. Joining them, the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers pushed for the permanent employment of more than 8,500 UHC workers who have been on contracts for 5 years. Willie Lusige reports.
The march started at Kenyatta National Hospital. It moved to SHA headquarters in Upper Hill, to the Ministry of Health, and then to the National Assembly. Patriotic songs echoed through the air as doctors under the KMPDU union voiced their anger over what they described as a government scheme to slash the salaries of medical interns from more than Kenya shillings 200,000 to Kenya shillings 70,000.
CBA is sacrosanct, and once it is agreed, it can't be changed. They tried to change it last year for the interns. We stopped them. They're again trying to change it this year. We will not allow it. We cannot allow.
Their message was clear. No pay cuts, no compromise.
This is just the beginning of protest. We will have another protest in the next month. We will have a strike notice in May, actually on 9th of May, if this matters are not resolved. Because no doctor will give up. And the time for actions will be now. We should all be ready.
Beyond their fight for fair wages, the union submitted complaints at SHA headquarters, highlighting the failure of the health insurance scheme and the hardship doctors endured when seeking treatment. They claimed SHA had failed to settle medical bills, resulting in some doctors being detained in hospitals.
We have a doctor who died last week at Kenyatta. The bill was 289,000. Social Health Authority only paid 28,000. So today we have demonstrated and expressed that SHA is not working. It is only working for political leaders. It's only working for cabinet secretaries.
It wasn't just doctors who were outraged. The Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, KUCO, also took to the streets. They too marched to Parliament demanding justice, not for themselves, but for more than 8,500 community health workers, UHC, who have been trapped in contract jobs for 5 years. Their message, temporary contracts for essential workers are illegal and unjust.
5 years is too long to be on a contract that we are earning a quarter salary, and an illegal contract that was supposed to have ended within the last 3 years. Budget 4.5 billion is not a lot of money to help 8,571 UHC to be absorbed on permanent and pensionable terms.
Not been paid their graduate for 5 years, and they are demanding for the same, and as well as statutory deductions which are not being remitted by the Ministry of Health.
as doctors insist that they will not allow any alteration on the 2017 CBA on payment of doctors in turn. They have also expressed their frustration when they seek treatment under SHA, vowing that if the government does not intervene come May 19th, they will down their tools. Willie Lusige, Citizen TV, Parliament, Nairobi.
The President assented a 66 billion shillings supplementary appropriations bill into law aimed at plugging critical financing gaps and steering key reforms. The education and health sectors are the biggest beneficiaries, with additional allocation of resources that will sort out key areas that have been the cause of widespread protests by practitioners in both sectors. Jimmy Mbogo reports.
The education sector has emerged as a major beneficiary of the second supplementary budget, receiving an allocation of 49.1 billion shillings. Of this, the Teacher Service Commission will receive an additional 18 billion shillings to cater to, among others, teachers' promotion and enrollment shortfalls. University education is set to receive 16 billion shillings allocation, out of which 4.2 billion shillings will cater to the implementation of university collective bargaining agreements. TVETs and the school feeding program will see an allocation of 8 billion shillings and 600 million shillings respectively.
There is also money for Kenya Primary Equity.
Other beneficiaries include the health sector, which has been allocated a total of 13.7 billion shillings, out of which the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority KEMSA will receive a recapitalization of 1.5 billion shillings. To promote the pillars of universal health coverage, the Primary Healthcare Fund will receive a seed capital of 3 billion shillings. The Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illnesses Fund has also been allocated 3 billion shillings, while healthcare interns will benefit from a 1.5 billion shillings stipend allocation. To further strengthen the healthcare system in the country, the government has allocated 1 billion shillings to the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospitals for personnel emolument, while the Kenyatta National Hospital will receive 1.7 billion shillings in appropriation in aid, even as the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Research Hospital is expected to receive 1.4 billion shillings. Additionally, the operationalization of the primary healthcare network is expected to cost the government at least 600 million shillings. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
The Ministry of Health faced tough scrutiny over a 98% increase in its proposed 2025-26 budget, as outlined in the budget policy statement. Health CS Deborah Baraza and her permanent secretaries appeared before the Senate Health Committee to justify their request. As Emily Chebet reports, Senators directed the ministry to prioritize the absorption of striking UHC staff and on permanent and pensionable terms.
Two state departments under the Ministry of Health appeared before the Senator Jackson Mandago-led committee to defend their revised budget estimates, which have surged by over 90% compared to the 2024-2025 budget. The Medical Services State Department under PS Harry Kimtai says while they require 465 billion, they have only been allocated 172 billion Kenya shillings.
This comprises of 145.1 billion in recurrent and Kenya shillings 27.5 billion in development. The overall funding gap to the State Department share, which of enumerated here, stands at Kenya shillings 254.2 billion. And Chair, I think that is what we expect if we are to operate optimally with everything that we need to undertake.
Previously, it was the budget of SHA was not included in our budget. It was an AGA. They were not getting a portion. They were not in our budget. They have been domesticated for the first time in the budget. So that brought a growth of 76 billion.
The committee questioned the sharp increase in the request in the ministry's budget, noting that in the previous financial year, they received 91 billion Kenya shillings. Senators questioned why certain ministry functions remained national instead of being devolved to counties.
Your argument is that you have so many presidential functions, but those functions are actually not your constitutional obligation. They are for county governments. Why not send that money to county government for them to be able to build their health facilities?
The list you have submitted as a presidential directive is nowhere in the budget. And therefore, as is, you have no intention of actually actualizing.
The State Department for Public Health and Professional Standards struggled to justify an additional 652 million Kenya shillings, citing it as a funding for community health promoters' salaries.
Community health promoters at the rate of 2,500 each, and additional for administration.
So if my mathematics is right, in a year it's 30,000 shillings. If you multiply 30,000 by 8,000 additional workers, gives you 240 million. So the administrative cost to it is more than 100%. Because then if you say 652 minus 240, you get almost 400 million for administrative to administer 8,000 workers.
The ministry struggled to address the UHC strike as senators questioned why some staff were made permanent and pensionable while others remained on temporary contracts despite having identical COVID-19 hires.
We want to see the budget of the next financial year, money for confirmation of UHC staff. We are not willing to take anything less than that. The reason we have not been able to pay is when we always say we are discussing and we are not putting on the budget, then it means we are not willing. We are just playing games with the health workers.
Even as the Ministry of Health defended their budget estimates, the committee took them to task to explain what they have termed as wastage and misplaced priorities. The Mandago-led committee wants the Ministry of Health to absorb all the UHC staff under permanent and pensionable. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV at the Parliament Buildings, Nairobi.
The Kenya National Civil Society Centre says Kenyans made their beds by voting for their leaders of choice in the 2022 elections, and they must now lay in it. The civil society group says the working agreement between President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga pulled the country from the brink of anarchy and has termed the deal a vehicle for redeeming the nation. The executive director, Suba Churchill, has taken issue with Kenyans opposed to the broad-based government, saying they had a chance to elect leaders of their choice and that they should embrace the consequences of being under the leadership of those they chose.
People actually are really complaining out here about betrayal, that Mr. Raila Odinga has betrayed the country. Every president who has been there before, and even the sitting one, they have already seen that he has something. It's good we support the broad-based government and give them time. Give them time to work.
Kenyans, consistently go to the polls and vote in those that we prefer to criticize as soon as they are in office and leave out those that we think should come to our rescue as soon as the elections are concluded. And so we are telling Kenyans to stop this hypocrisy. Stop the hypocrisy of blaming those that you never gave any responsibility and making those that you gave responsibility appear as if they were angels.
Rampant corruption in county governments is being orchestrated through misappropriation of funds, ghost projects and inflated contracts. The Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, says some devolved units reported expenditures exceeding 100%, with 38 devolved units failing to meet the legal development expenditure threshold in the financial year 2023-24. Nyakango was speaking during the 5th National County Assembly Summit in Nairobi.
A section of members of county assemblies who ideally should exercise oversight in the devolved units are hindering the fight against corruption.
Who became the
Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango attributes the setback in the fight against corruption to the MCA's relationship with governors.
Some MCAs will align with the governors, thereby compromising the oversight function.
While issuing her presentation on the role of county governments in budget oversight during the 5th National County Assembly Summit in Nairobi, the Controller of Budget raised a red flag over rampant corruption in the devolved units.
Inflated contracts. Yeah? So with the best of intentions, if these corruption risks persist, we may not succeed in our oversight.
failure by county administrators to streamline budget controls, leading to some counties controversially reporting expenditures exceeding 100%. Failure by devolved units to comply with the 30% minimum development expenditure requirement has led to 38 counties failing to meet the legal threshold, with only 9 complying.
We know that the ceiling for development expenditure is a minimum of 30%, not 30% allocation, but 30% spending.
Addressing the representatives, the Commission on Revenue Allocation faulted the Senate for failing to consult it before passing the 400 billion shillings Division of Revenue Bill 2024, calling for a 30 billion shillings increment for devolved units through the revenue sharing model.
In the last formula, you remember how people fought. The formula had a lot of challenge. It had to have like 11 adjournments in the Senate.
Now you bring in the independent office players and their specific rules. Senate is also represented, guys of National Assembly, of course the State Department of Devolution. So it gives us a bigger scale of what you do, other than oversighting your own specific governor and the few CCs member around your specific county.
Members of the 47 county assemblies have been challenged to take a leading role in oversight to eliminate corruption in the devolved unit, even as they prepare to wind up the 5th summit of the County Assemblies Forum in Nairobi on Wednesday. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Nairobi County.
The family of Margaret Nduta is holding on to hope after she was spared from a scheduled execution on Monday evening. With a renewed sense of faith, the family gathered for prayers Tuesday, urging the government to step up diplomatic efforts to secure her repatriation to Kenya. Brenda Wanga reports on the family's sigh of relief and their continued fight for her freedom.
At the home of Margaret Nduta, family and friends gather. It has been a tense few days for the family and the community as they waited with bated breath to know the fate of the 37-year-old woman who was staring at execution in Vietnam. Today, a guarded sense of relief can be felt.
Asante sana, Mr. President, kwa sababu mtoto wangu hakuuliwa, umlete huku Kenya. Asanti sana, nitafurahi sana na watu wengi watafurahi.
There is a lot of diplomacy and a lot of communication going on, but the best bit of it is that Nduta is not going to be hanged now. There's a lot of talk going on, and very soon the government will give its position once the negotiations are done.
Nduta had been scheduled to be executed on Monday evening by lethal injection for her conviction on drug trafficking charges. She was arrested in 2023 when she arrived at an airport in Vietnam's capital in possession of 2 kilograms of cocaine. Her family maintains she was set up.
Walikuwa wasichana wawili. Nduta akaambiwa wewe ndio utakuwa wa mwisho kutoka. Vile siku yake ilifika ya kutoka, aliniambia Wambo wetu, nimenunuliwa bag, nimeambiwa yangu ni ndogo na pia ni mzee. So akanunuliwa sasa, akaambiwa toa nguo zako uweke kwa hii bag nyingine.
As the clock ticked towards the execution date, the Kenyan government swung into action, seeking a stay of execution or clemency. It appears the efforts led by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have bought Nduta some precious more time. But as the family keeps hope alive that Nduta will escape the death punishment, an area MP says the government needs to tighten the scrutiny and the regulations around employment agencies that allegedly lure unsuspecting Kenyans into lives of crime, but at the same time, they have urged caution.
In Parliament, I'm going to personally take up the matter. And I also raise the matter with the President that we must vet the agencies that are recruiting our children, promising them greener pastures, but when they go the other side, they suffer, they run away from them.
Tafadhali caution mtoto wako na umuonyeshe kwamba akienda hata akitoka iwe anasafiri na nduthi ama na matatu ama anaenda na basi ama anaenda basi na ndege. Tunakuomba umwambie sio vizuri kwenda akishikania na watu wengine kwa barabara, watu ambao hawajui, watu ambao hawakuwa nao katika safari yake.
Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
ODM leader Raila Odinga held talks with British High Commissioner to Kenya Neil Wigan, focusing on Kenya-UK relations, national affairs and global dynamics. In a post on X and Facebook, Odinga stated that the UK seeks to shift its engagement with countries from traditional aid to economic investment. The discussions also covered UK and Europe's role in international affairs, including Africa's position on key global issues. Separately, Odinga, who recently signed a political pact with President William Ruto, met with Tana River Governor Dado Godana and Vihiga Governor Wilbur Otichilo, alongside other county leaders. Prophet Peter Kimondo of the Christ Impact Church in Ruiru, who is accused of sodomizing a Nakuru resident in 2022, has been released on a 500,000 shillings bond by a court in Nakuru. Senior resident magistrate Ruth Kefa made the ruling a day after the suspect was charged with 2 offences of rape and indecent acts. Peter Kimondo was arrested on Sunday in Nairobi after a warrant of arrest was issued on the 3rd of March. Now, at least 400 people, including children, have been killed in the Gaza enclave after the Israeli military launched a fresh round of airstrikes in the territory, in what the Israeli government is terming, quote, the hitting of terror targets, effectively ending weeks of relative calm since a ceasefire was arrived at on the 19th of January. According to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office, Israel has resolved to act against Hamas with increasing military strength until 59 persons of Israeli nationality, believed to be held as hostages by the group, are released. The airstrikes conducted in the wee hours of Tuesday morning hit houses and tent encampments from the north to the south of the Gaza Strip, with shelling from the strikes flattening buildings where more people are believed to be trapped. That's according to Palestinian authorities. Hamas has accused Israel of jeopardizing efforts by mediators to negotiate a permanent deal to end the fighting. All right, let's take a short break here on The Explainer tonight. When we come back, My Explainer, it's all about math. To math or not to math? That is the question. We'll be right back. No more math. On The Explainer tonight, we tell you why professionals are livid over purported removal of mathematics as a core subject in senior school.
Today, due to technological advancements, the calculation of the first day of a lunar month is more accurate and dependable, without seeing the actual newborn crescent moon with the naked eye. Due to the presence of 2 methods of determining a new lunar month, or Ramadan being present, through astronomical calculations and moon sightings, Muslims around the world sometimes observe the beginning of Ramadan and its end, Eid al-Fitr, on different days. Saudi Arabia's moon sighting committee of the Supreme Court announces the official date of Ramadan.
Mabrother, chekini story fulani la penjuzi mtani record manze.
Lakini bro, kazi itakuwa tu ni kujaza simu na hizi mavida.
Ai, kujinice tu kaka.
Mwananchi ndani huyo anarada medalia pesa.
Leta tenje ni kushow vile tutaomoka. Citizen Digital wako na platform fulani kwa site yao inaitwa Wananchi Reporting. Hapa unaweza tuma story yako kwa website yao ama kwa app yao ya Citizen Digital. Na kama hiyo process ni ngumu, unaweza tuma story kwa email yao, WhatsApp number ama uitumie kama SMS.
Alafu gani napataje bro?
After story yako imepublishiwa, hapo ndo una receive 1000 kwa simu yako.
Bro, au umenichanua.
Don't just witness the news, be part of breaking it. Download the Citizen Digital app and share your story with Wananchi Reporting today. Citizen Digital.
The Smarter Bundle. Bundle imetosha. 30 GB monthly data. 400 minutes talk time to any network. 100% rudishiwa on Airtel Money transactions, bank to wallet, pay bills, and agent withdrawals. Subscribe to the Smarter Bundle today. Dial *544# or visit My Airtel app. Airtel Smarter Bundle. Browse, chat, call. Airtel Money. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Just like the instinct to push limits is in your blood, or creating all kinds of social media content, or to concoct flavors that dance on the tongue, it's also in your blood to save lives. Donate today and ensure a tomorrow for you and all Kenyans. Join us. Visit a regional blood donation center near you to make your donation. Regional donation centers can be found near referral hospitals or county blood satellites within county hospitals, because it's in your blood to be the difference.
The Kiambu County Government, under His Excellency Governor Dr. Kimani Wamatangi, reminds traders to pay for their 2025 single business permits. Payments can be made directly to the county bank account or M-Pesa pay bill 4162022 using your invoice number as the account number. These funds shall support ongoing county projects such as completed 247 ECDE centers, over 30 level 4 and 3 hospitals, roads and farm inputs, among others. Governor Kimani Wamatangi, making Kiambu great again.
Sisi kama shirika la Elatia tunajaribu kuwaonyesha kuna nguvu wakati watu wameungana.
Jojo anadhani anapenda uboy, lakini akipata mtu mromantic kama mimi ata change mind.
Kila safari huanza na ndoto. As we celebrate 40 years, our promise is to be with you for life. Tufanikishe zaidi.
To math or not to math? That is the question after PS Belio Kipsang made the announcement that math is an optional subject for those in senior school. Reactions have poured in from various quarters, but this gives us the opportunity to discuss the transition to senior school for the CBC Pioneer learners who will join grade 10 in 2026. So let's first understand the pathways, shall we? Now, there are 4 basic pathways. That's STEM, Arts and Sports Science, Social Sciences, and the stage-based vocational pathway. The government's recommendation is that 60% of learners take up STEM, 15 take up Arts and Sports, and 25 take up Social Sciences. During this first term, learners are expected to make up their minds on their preferred pathways. And this will be done in consultation with their parents, of course, and with advisory at the junior school level. They will then choose from these pathways in the second term of this year. Now, each of the pathways has different suggested learning pathways that will lead to different career paths. Arts and Sports Science is meant to foster creativity, expression through practical, experiential, and project-based learning. Possible careers in this pathway include the sectors of the arts, sports, education, and entertainment. Now, one of the core objectives for Social Sciences is to develop critical and analytical thinking and prepare learners for careers in social sciences such as law, education, public administration, international relations, economics, and even social work. Right? Now, for those that select the STEM route, the teachers will help them develop problem-solving skills, technical competence, and prepare them for advanced studies and careers in areas such as engineering, IT, computer science, medicine and health sciences, data science, and various scientific disciplines in both research and development. Now let's talk about the objectives of the stage-based learning whose aim is to prepare learners for immediate entry into the labor market by getting them the relevant skills and certifications. Now, there are multiple career paths here, and learners can choose to further their education, enter the workforce, or pursue further vocational training in areas such as weaving, leatherwork, animal farming, among others. Now, this pathway also provides those with special needs and disabilities practical skills, technical knowledge, and lifelong skills as well. Now, what subjects will they be learning in these pathways? That's where there is quite some heat. Learners in senior school, that is grades 10 to 12, will study 7 subjects in total, 4 core subjects and 3 electives, which will be selected from their pathway of choice. The 4 core subjects are English, Kiswahili or Kenya Sign Language, community service learning, and physical education. Now, STEM learners can then choose another 3 subjects from the following: mathematics, chemistry, biology, physics, for those that choose the pure science track, agriculture, computer, home science for those that choose the applied science track, and those who choose the technical studies track within STEM can choose from aviation, building construction, metalwork, even woodwork, among others. Now, for learners that choose the social sciences, they can further specialize in 2 tracks of learning, and literature and the humanities. And their subject choices include literature in English, Fasihi in Kiswahili, sign language, other languages like German, Arabic, and even indigenous languages, and religious education, history and citizenship, business studies, and geography. For the arts and sports science, there are 2 tracks, that's arts and sports science. And learners can select 3 subjects from music and dance, theatre and film, fine art, sports, and recreation. Now, as you've noted, mathematics is optional, even for STEM courses, and this has elicited reactions from various disciplines. The Institution of Engineers of Kenya has strongly opposed the removal of math as a core subject. They say that, and I quote, "Math is the language of engineering and technology, and that without a solid grounding in mathematics, students will struggle to develop analytical skills that are necessary for success in the engineering and technical professions." But they also decried its removal as a core subject from other pathways. Now, while acknowledging the flexibility of CBC, they say that its exclusion will affect the country's workforce readiness and economic stability. Now, they point out, for instance, that even in areas, say, music theory, math is important in harmonic frequencies. In sports analytics, it's important in biomechanics, performance tracking, and statistics. But they have a suggestion. Now, they say that instead of removing the subject entirely, the ministry can introduce practical math applications in areas such as financial literacy, statistics, technical measurements, and computational thinking. Now, they've also advocated for clear guidance on the implications of dropping math to ensure that the learners make an informed decision. That is what they're saying today. However, what will it take? How are the learners going to be placed? And how will the learners make their selection? That is on part 2 of The Explainer next week, when we'll also take a look at the schools and the pathways that they will be able to provide. But that is tonight's Explainer. Now let's take a look at other stories making headlines on the program tonight. The Cabinet's approval to upgrade Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital in Kisumu has been met with widespread optimism. The hospital first secured a green light from the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council in 2023 after meeting key Level 6 accreditation criteria, including specialized theatre and laboratory services. Now, as the 60-year-old facility prepares for its next chapter, Laura Otieno takes us through its journey and its impact on healthcare in the Nyanza and Western regions.
Amidst the sharp cries of newborns in the outpatient section and efforts to ease patients from their pain, a ray of hope beams through the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Hospital. The recent approval by Cabinet to upgrade the 60-year-old facility into a parastatal has injected fresh hope, paving way for transformative healthcare services. Built in 1965 by the Russians, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Hospital was commissioned in a historic yet tumultuous event in 1969. The visit of the then President Jomo Kenyatta, meant to mark the hospital's official opening, was marred by tensions, with his convoy stoned amid fierce political rivalry with Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. A reconciled political atmosphere has paved the way for progress, culminating in the cabinet's approval to elevate the 60-year-old facility into a parastate hall, ushering in a new era for healthcare in the region.
The categorization of hospitals is done by KNPDC. So for us at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital, we were categorized at level 6A, which is actually the highest level of healthcare in our country. And this was done in 2023.
This is something that we worked on since 2017, day by day, of course together with the university, okay? Because if you think about the human resource component, quite a number of specialists actually are employees of Maseno University Medical School.
According to regulations set by KMPDC, a facility must meet set criteria before it qualifies as a level 6. This includes specialized radiology and imaging services, specialized laboratory services, attachment to a school for sub-specialized training, among others. And with the cabinet approval setting the stage for additional services, including neurosurgery and cardiovascular management, authorities urge patience as the hospital prepares to meet the rigorous standards required for its elevation.
The issue of transformation and change will actually take probably minimum, I think, 18 months to 2 years. Yeah, it's not a switch a switch where you put it on and off. It's a process. And therefore, it's going to take a while. I want to ask the residents of Kisumu, to bear with us, but we want to assure them we will continue providing them with the best clinical outcomes.
The elevation is not just a win for specialized healthcare. It also comes with significant financial relief. The move will free up a whopping 1.2 billion shillings from the Kisumu County's government coffers, funds that are now set to be redirected towards strengthening primary health care across the county.
When this 1.2 billion load is taken away from us, that means then we can reinvest in the people of Kisumu in terms of the level 4 facilities, in terms of Kisumu County Referral Hospital, and in terms of the primary health care facilities. So for the people of Kisumu, what you should expect is that they will get better care.
For now, the wait continues, but with optimism that a brighter healthcare future lies ahead. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
Kiharu lawmaker Ndindi Nyoro says his relationship with President William Ruto took a nosedive in October last year at the height of the impeachment of the then Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Nyoro, who spoke for the first time since his removal as the National Assembly's Budget Committee chair, says he was not informed of his demotion by the President or the leadership of the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Stephen Latour reports.
Call it betrayal in the city, or rather friends turn foes. The story of Samson Ndindi Nyoro, the Kiharu lawmaker, and President William Ruto, who in the last general election were almost joined at the hip, a spell away from the political limelight. That coincided with the advent of Gen Z protests mid-last year seems to have catalyzed a series of happenings, and last week, Ndindi Nyoro was stripped of the powerful position of the chair of the Budget and Appropriation Committee, an office that sits at the top floor of the towering Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC.
Maybe for clarity's sake, the last discussion I had with the president of the country, the last political discussion, either a chat or a discussion, as it were, was before October of last year.
October last year was when the ruling Kenya Kwanza coalition opened purge, then Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua wounded and eclipsed from his position and handed the post of second in command to Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki.
Niko hapa na kijana anaitwa Ndindi Nyoro.
Nyoro remained mum on Gachagwa's removal and kept away from Parliament when the impeachment motion was laid on the floor of the National Assembly.
And therefore, in terms of you've asked the relationship between the president and the former deputy president, the position I hold is that I respect every reader. And I could have things I need to talk about. I could have reservations on decisions made. But I don't think it has been within my role.
Kenya Kwanza has, since that impeachment, conducted a cleanup in Parliament of the perceived disloyal, and Nyoro appears to have been classified as such. He was replaced with Samuel Atandi of ODM, which gained a firm footing in government after an initial inclusion of 4 members in cabinet. A newly signed memorandum of understanding was the final clincher to the purge in Parliament. Nyoro claims it came as a surprise.
I read in newspapers about myself the same way you do.
Last week, Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wa and his minority counterpart Junet Mohammed accused the former Budget Committee chair of making skewed allocations.
Otherwise, which member of parliament here can afford through his NGCDF to build classrooms, plaster them, put windows, put roof, put tiles in the classroom, cabros in the... Mr. Speaker, which member of parliament can afford to do that here?
It is immoral, it is unethical and very unprofessional of us who sit in those committees.
I actually did in my first term. In my first term, I was a member of a committee called Regional Integration.
The Kiharu lawmaker was non-committal on his next course of action after falling out with the coalition that sponsored him to Parliament, giving vague but suggestive answers.
When you are in the dance floor, politically speaking, you can't know even when it is raining outside. My answering to that letter is that what I am certain of is that I have more time than previously. And I will pray that I make good use of that time.
Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
In an era where digital platforms are reshaping how communities engage, a chief in Baringo has taken the initiative to embrace technology in a way that not only entertains but also educates. Felix Chesire, an assistant chief, has earned the name TikTok Chief for his innovative use of the popular platform to address social vices like illicit brews and drug addiction. Marianne Nyambura reports.
Kipcherere Sub-County Assistant Chief Felix Chesire has become a TikTok sensation. His comical posts on his TikTok handle, Soy Comedy, has earned him a following of 55,000 people on the social platform. The Assistant Chief and 2 youth, Vincent Chesang and Caleb Kiplagat, are using the platform to raise awareness on substance abuse through comedy.
At least imeenda beyond Kipcherere sub-location to Baringo na nzima na hata Kenya nzima. Na hata mambo ya vijana at least wameona baada ya kuelimisha kuhusu disadvantages ya drugs, at least vijana wamebadilika. Pia nimehusisha mambo ya wamama, mambo ya maisha, mambo hata ya health.
Chief wetu alikuja akasumbukana na sisi kitambo hatukuwa tunasikia, so ikafika tu wakati chief akatuongelesha, akatupata kando, ndio akatupea madhara yake.
Their skits have resonated with a large audience, more so the Gen Z generation.
The only way yenye unaweza pata kila mtu kwa hii society ya sahi ni simu. Hapo awali nikiita parasa, wasee ndio na wamama ndio walikuwa wanakuja parasa. Vijana mara wakuje, unaweza ona huko kwa veranda huko wanaangalia tu simu. So hiyo kitu ikanikujia, tukaongea na hao wasee, tukaangalia hiyo mambo ya TikTok.
Ameelimisha wamama hapa. Ukiangalia hata sasa tukiongea, kuna wamama wenye wako kwa groups ya wamama, wameunganisha wamama, wameingia groups mpaka wameomba pesa.
Marianne Nyambura, Citizen TV.
TikTok Chief, interesting. All right, now let's take a look at the next story. Hope Ligami is the first weekly winner of $250,000 shillings through Jiomoshe na Shabiki Jet X. The young entrepreneur from Ruaraka wanted to try something new other than the Shabiki.com's aviator. Her win gives her the opportunity to expand her business and improve her life. The 27-year-old says that the Shabiki platform is helping many people gain financial momentum. There is a total prize pool of 2 million shillings up for grabs in the Jiomoshe na Jet X promotion, with 10 players with the highest multipliers standing a chance to win 50,000 shillings every day, $250,000 for the highest multiplier of the week.
Because I'm an ardent fan of Shabiki, so I follow them closely on all their social media platforms. So that is where I got wind of the promotion and I hopped onto the challenge. Nilieka stake ya 50 bob. Na actually sikujua itakuwa na the highest multiplier. This is not my first win. Nimekuwa nikiwin tuseme small prizes. So for this the 250,000 this time, I can say I was incredibly fortunate. To the ladies, I can also tell them this is not it's not just something that only men can do. Actually, you can also unakuwa roju unaingia pale and you bet, and who knows, you could be also the lucky winner. So that will really help me in boosting my business, and perhaps maybe I'll also continue some stalled projects zenye nilikuwa nazo nyumbani.
You're watching The Explainer tonight. Let's take another quick break. When we come back, we've got the day's business news. Financial advisory firm Old Mutual more than quadruples its profits in 2024.
At Amaco Insurance, we ensure safe journeys by protecting public vehicles and the lives on board. With every policy, we provide full coverage for peace of mind on every ride. Your trust makes us the #1 choice for PSV insurance. We also insure private and commercial vehicles, businesses, livestock, homes, schools, and more. Visit us today and let's plan your insurance together.
Je, ungependa kuwa mkulima dhabiti? Anza kwa kupanda na Elgon Dhabiti Fertilizer Planting iliyotengenezwa kuimarisha mahitaji ya mizizi ya miche yako michanga ili kuipa msingi dhabiti. Isitoshe, tumia Elgon Dhabiti Fertilizer Top Dressing ili kuipa mimea yako nguvu ya ukuaji wa kipekee na uzalishaji bora. Dhabiti Fertilizer ina virutubisho vyote muhimu. Jiunge na wakulima dhabiti ufurahie mavuno tele. Jipatie Dhabiti Fertilizer kutoka kwa vituo vya NCPB kote nchini Kenya. Elgon Kenya Limited, transforming farms and lives through technology.
People come to me and they say they get discomfort when they have ice cream. Can you imagine that? Avoiding having cold ice cream. Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Royal Mabati Factory Limited, your one-stop shop for affordable and quality guaranteed roofing solutions. Grab our offers. Pay 40%, get same-day production, relax at home, and enjoy free delivery. Call us on 0722 638383. Order today at www.royalmabati.com.
Running out of water again? With PowerTank, never worry about water shortages. PowerTank has been awarded the prestigious Super Brand status in East Africa for quality, reliability, and distinction. PowerTanks are crafted from food-grade polyethylene, UV stabilized and double-layered for unparalleled durability. Backed by a 10-year limited warranty and an expected lifespan of 30 years plus, we offer free nationwide delivery. Buy online or call 0779 000 000 today to get your PowerTank. Feel and chill with PowerTank.
I'm glad you're here so you could apologize to Gabriella.
Me?
You were very rude to her. I demand an apology from you.
The way I'm seeing it, you cannot handle this matter alone.
What do you suggest I do? Huh?
The WRC Safari Rally 2025. Red Fisher and feel the roar.
In Business Tonight, Old Mutual Group's profit after tax surged to 1.3 billion shillings in 2024, up from 0.2 billion the previous year. The sharp jump in profitability, the group says, was driven by strong asset management gains, underwriting profits and investment returns. Here's our reporter Wamboi Wangoi with the details.
Old Mutual Group has more than quadrupled its profit after tax, climbing to 1.3 billion shillings in 2024, a huge jump from 0.2 billion in 2023. The financial services firm credits this jump to a diversified portfolio in a year which the company termed as very difficult for its insurance arm.
We paid nearly 1.5 billion more in claims in 2024 than we did in 2023. And despite that, we still saw our operating profits remain stable. Reason being, our asset management business came to the table, our life insurance business came to the table, our investment properties portfolio came to the table and sort of softened that blow.
The group saw a substantial reduction in finance costs, which decreased from 2.4 billion shillings in 2023 to 1.2 billion shillings in 2024. This was a direct result of the conversion of shareholder loans to equity, easing the group debt burden.
Some of our initiatives around the balance sheet restructure already paying off. You can see the reduction in the finance costs as a result.
But despite the significant jump in profits, Old Mutual recorded a 631 million foreign exchange loss due to the strengthening of the Kenyan shilling in 2024. Additionally, the sale of UAP Insurance Tanzania resulted in a 363 million shillings loss over the same period. Wamboi Wangoi, Citizen TV.
Kenyan business leaders, policy experts and investors are warning that the country must urgently shift its reliance from foreign trade pacts, such as the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, and embrace industrialization as the engine of future growth. Speaking at the Anderson Economic Forum in the capital, experts emphasize the need for Kenya to explore ways to revive the manufacturing sector, making it more attractive to investors. As Jimmy Mbogo reports, industry players highlight that the country's inability to compete globally is driving away capital owners, depriving the economy of much-needed investment.
Kenya's policy uncertainty is increasingly becoming a major concern for local investors, who are now being forced to seek alternative jurisdictions for investment. According to Mahesh Pania, head of advisory at Anderson, while investors are not necessarily risk-averse, uncertainty discourages them from committing their resources.
Some of the HNIs we've been interacting, they actually tell us, can you look for something outside of Kenya? So the trust is really low and they're very crystal clear. We don't want to do anything. We don't want to put our money in Kenya. Can you help us to put it out? This is Kenyan investors, not international, right? The other part is that we actually do not have a structure.
However, uncertainty is not the only factor being blamed for capital flight. A lack of global competitiveness has also been identified as a significant barrier to investments in Kenya. Industry leaders are now urging the government to stimulate high-growth sectors like manufacturing by aligning policies with market demands and improving the ease of doing business.
Go look at eCitizen, the amount you pay there and what you get for it. It's digital. For God's sake, it should be zero. So I guess the competitiveness is key, and really, if government said, fine, we want to be competitive and we want to make it bigger, I can tell you one thing, we can revamp this place quickly. Because a lot of investments are already there. They're fixed on the ground. We just have to change it and bring in technology. It's not rocket science.
No bank will be interested in funding government if there was a manufacturer, because we become partners, and there are so many touch points in manufacturing for me to make money. There is no touch point in buying a treasury board other than a coupon. It's the most dumpiest thing a financier would do.
Infrastructure shortfalls have also been flagged as a major drag on productivity. Experts note that inadequate infrastructure rises the cost of doing business, limiting economic growth. Experts say the country's ability to attract and retain investments will depend on its willingness to address these critical issues and create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
The telecommunications sector recorded strong growth in the last quarter of 2024, driven by increased mobile and internet activity during the festive season. Data released by the Communications Authority shows that SIM subscriptions rose to over 71 million, while mobile money users jumped to 42.3 million. Safaricom maintained its lion's share of the market at 65.2%. Wambui Wangoi tells us more.
The Communications Authority of Kenya has put out its sector statistics report for the last quarter of 2024. The data indicates that during this period, mobile money usage went up, with subscriptions growing to 42.3 million, a figure that translates to an 82% penetration rate. Active SIM subscriptions rose to 71.4 million, pushing penetration to 138.5%. The demand for high-speed internet driven by streaming, remote work and online learning fueled the uptake of 4G and 5G services. This saw mobile data subscriptions expand by 3.2% to 56.1 million. The country also saw a notable rise in satellite internet usage, mainly due to the growing adoption of low Earth orbit satellite services. Smartphone penetration hit 80.5%, while feature phones declined to 59.3%. This shift due to increased mobile broadband coverage, now at 97% of the population, and the affordability of smartphones. Voice traffic increased by 4.6% to 27.4 billion minutes, while SMS volumes rose by 3.3% to 14.1 billion messages. Safaricom maintained its dominance at 65.2%, followed by Airtel at 30.1%. Wambui Wangoi, Citizen TV.
All right, we want to take another break. When we come back, it is the day's sports news, and we'll be telling you all about the preparations for the Safari Rally. It is that season. We'll have more on that and other stories in the world of sports when we return.
I was just looking at my watch.
Don't get hot.
No, I'm not.
The collar.
I'm very cool.
Yeah.
I love the bench.
Are you sure it wasn't a computer glitch?
Mapema and your best.
It's either this way or the highway.
No,
it's that simple.
It's misleading. Let me sit properly.
Jeff Koinange live every Wednesday, 9 p.m.
It's planning wisely. It's living joyfully. It's banking easily. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Vibes zinachemka.
Form imejipa. M-Pesa is officially adulting and it's time to celebrate. The M-Pesa 18 and over concert. It's a truly Kenyan experience. Tokea to Jinais, Uhuru Park, 21st March 2025. Gates zina open at exactly saa 8 mchana. Na entry ni M-Pesa birthday bundle ya 20 bob tu. Life ni sherehe.
When I have back pain, I reach for 2 tablets of Panadol Extra. It's boosted by caffeine for fast relief of strong pain, like headache, toothache, and muscle pain. And I am finally released from pain and ready to be there for those who need me. Try Panadol Extra for fast and effective relief from strong pain.
Please can I have that and that? Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Ukiwin, beshte yako in your local shop win too. Hii ni the Cadbury Big Win-Win. Nunua any 2 participating Cadbury products. Scan QR code ama WhatsApp hi kunominate beshte yako in your local shop. Stand a chance ya kushinda share yako in cash prizes plus more. A win for you is a win for all. T's and C's apply.
Turn everyday greens into family favorites. Transform managu, mchicha, mrenda, and mito into family favorites. When almost cooked, add red and yellow hoho, garlic, and dania for great flavor and a burst of color.
Afya bora huanza na chakula bora.
The national football team, the Harambee Stars, left the country Tuesday morning for a crucial 2026 World Cup qualifier away to Gambia on Thursday evening. Gambia will host the Harambee Stars at the Stade Alassane Ouattara in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. New coach Benny McCarthy named his final travelling squad 2 days ago with some notable absentees. New call-up William Lenkupai from the Central Coast Mariners in Australia will miss the match due to documentation issues. Coach Benny has also his arsenal available and takes 5 strikers and 4 attacking midfielders to Ivory Coast.
Everybody is really looking forward for the first assignments of the year, which is Gabon and Gambia. So we just want to thank the federation, also the new federation, starting with the president, Mr. Hussein, and also our able vice president, McDonald Mariga, for making a good, peaceful environment for the players to come and camp and to perform. We saw also the coach, the new coach, believing in a lot of players. He called up a good number of squad, and yeah, everybody is really looking forward to these 2 fixtures.
Rally driver Evans Kavisi is eager to represent Kenya at the 2025 WRC Safari Rally that zooms off in 2 days' time. Kavisi is back at the Safari Rally after taking a 1-year break. Navigated by his longtime friend Absalon Aswani, Kavisi will be eyeing an improved performance compared to his last outing when he graced the 2023 WRC Safari Rally, where he retired due to mechanical problems. The Group N driver will be competing in his usual Mitsubishi Evo X, a car he has raced in since he made his Safari Rally debut in 2021, when the legendary event made its return to Kenyan soil after a 20-year hiatus. The 4-day rally will be headlined by defending champion Kyle Rovanpera, world champion Thierry Neuville, Elfyn Evans, Ott Tanak, Takamoto Katsuta, and Adrian Formor.
A few gremlins to start with, but it's typical of this lifestyle. So we are used to having problems every once in a while. But yeah, we're testing the car to just make sure everything is in good nick, and we're ready for the event.
The Nairobi County government has made good progress in the construction of the state-of-the-art stadia, including the Joe Kadenge Stadium, which was formerly known as City Stadium. Our sports reporter Lukman Mahmood visited some of the stadia and filed the following report.
Since it was damaged, the AstroTurf at the former Nairobi City Stadium was dumped, but there is hope as the Nairobi County government is almost completing its renovation. According to the County Executive Committee member for sports, Brian Mulama, once completed, the stadium will not only benefit Nairobi residents, but the country at large.
Turf ambayo imetengenezwa hapa imetoka kule Holland na inakuja inafiksiwa na wale wataalamu kutoka kule Holland ambao wanaelewa kuweka. Unajua hii kiwanja City Stadium the last time ilitengenezwa ilikuwa ni 2010. Imechukua miaka 15 kama hakuna serikali yote ambayo iliweza kututangulia kuja kutengeneza. So this is the first time serikali ya Governor Sakaja imeweza kuchukua hii nafasi ya kuweza kushughulikia viwanja. Tulianza kusema ya kwamba kwa manifesto ya Governor Sakaja ni kwamba tunataka make sure kwamba tuna nurture talent alafu tuna monetize the same talent.
At the grounds on course of the famous Woodley Stadium in Kibra, Kiumbuini and Mwiki, which will bring back the lost glory of Nairobi as a sports hub.
Hiyo dandora inatumika sana paka kuanzia asubuhi paka maeneo usiku. Ndiposa governor akaanza kutoa amri ya kwamba tuweze kuharakisha hizo viwanja zingine, na unapata ya kwamba hii viwanja si itasaidia tu wakazi wa Nairobi peke yao. Itaweza kusaidia Kenya mzima kwa sababu clubs zinatoka Kenya mzima zinakuja kuchezea hapa Nairobi.
Before being officially opened, FIFA will conduct a field assessment for all the stadiums to make sure they meet the right standards. Apart from being in the Nairobi County Government manifesto, upon completion, the Joe Kadenge Stadium will help elevate soccer standard in the country. Lukman Mahmood, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Peter Gathogo had a bad start in the first 9, but recovered well to finish with an impressive score of 1/73 in the Karen leg of the US Kids Junior Golf Foundation Spring Tour. Gathogo, who was a late entrant in the tournament in the boys 13 years category, shot 39 in the first 9, but recovered superbly in the second 9 with a score of 34 for an overall 1/73 score. His scores included 4 birdies, 4 bogeys and 1 double bogey. In second place was Amar Shah with a score of 3/75. The other interesting category in Karen was the girls 15 to 18 years old with only 2 competitors. Yolanda Yu, playing in this category for the first time this season, had mixed results in the first 9 and second 9 to finish with a score of 6/78.
The first 9 I started strongly. Par, bogey, par. Then on the 4th hole, I messed up by 4 putting. But my caddy helped me not to give up, and I shot 2 under on the back 9.
So today I started off very bad. I played 3 over in the first 2 holes because I had 2 3-putts. And the rest of the round, I played level par. I steadied it out.
Actually, I've lost my swing for the last 2 tournaments or so. At BetLab, I played 92, and at Limuru, I played 100. So playing 70s, I'm really glad.
That's where we leave it on tonight, but I'd like to read some feedback on the explainer where we're talking about the pathways for those in senior school. Dr. Hosea Kiplagat says whether to remove or not remove math, that is, allow more inclusive consultations and participation as a country. And then there is another one that is here from, it was somewhere up here, I will find it just now. Your handle is Andrew Gashanja. You say Kenya needs to change its education goals and teaching methods. Education authorities ought to research on learning processes and outcomes rather than destroy the entire system. Thanks for watching The Explainer tonight, and always have a good night. We will see you again next time. Bye-bye.